fellow Toastmasters. This evening, you are going to learn a powerful technique for solving your problems. When I was a kid, I used to like to watch reruns of Hogan's Heroes. I don't know if you know Hogan's Heroes, a TV show. It was made in the 60s. It took place, it was a funny show. It took place in a German World War II POW camp. It was run by the comically incompetent Colonel Klink, who was the German, and the good guy was Colonel Hogan, the ranking U.S. commander. There was one episode where a bomb, unexploded, lands in the compound, and Colonel Klink, the German, tells Colonel Hogan, the American, that since it turns out it's a U.S. bomb, that Colonel Hogan has got to defuse this bomb that's sticking out the compound. So the scene is Colonel Hogan begins to dismantle this bomb. They've been able to get the instructions, and Colonel Hogan is standing over, Colonel Klink is standing over Colonel Hogan as he dismantles this bomb. Colonel Klink's reading the directions. And they get all, so they get it, Colonel Hogan gets it taken apart. And they're all the way down to, the only thing left is there's 2 wires running to the timer on the bomb. It's still ticking. But the instructions that they have how to disarm this bomb ends. They don't have the final step, what to do with these 2 wires still connected to the timer. So Colonel Hogan looks up at Colonel Klink and says, Colonel Klink, you're the head guy here, you're the commandant, you tell me which one of these wires I'm going to cut to disarm this bomb. And Colonel Klink is all flustered, and he finally says to Hogan, cut the black wire. And the camera pans in on Colonel Hogan. He's got his wire cutters. He reaches in to cut the black wire. At the last second, he moves over and he cuts the red wire. And the bomb stops ticking, no explosion, everybody's happy, except for Colonel Klink, the commandant. He's a little miffed. He says to Hogan, Hogan, if you knew which wire to cut, why did you even ask me? And Colonel Hogan looks up at Klink and he says, well, I didn't know which wire to cut, but I knew that you would pick the wrong one. So I thought about that, and I thought, well, that's a novel idea. He did the opposite of what this guy that he knew was totally incompetent would do. So I thought about that for a long time, and so years go by, and now I'm married, and I have a wonderful wife. She's a smart person, beautiful nurse. Her name is Ann. But she had this one fatal flaw, and that was she didn't know how to read a map or follow directions how to get somewhere. And we'd go somewhere, I'd drive, she'd navigate, and we'd always get just hopelessly lost. It was really frustrating to me, and I'd get upset. And I remember one time where we were driving somewhere and we're getting lost, and I look over at her, and she's holding the map upside down. And I'm thinking, this is not tolerable. I've got to figure something out here. We're always getting lost. So the next time we're out, actually I remember we're in Michigan, we're driving to a wedding, we're driving down the interstate, and we're kind of getting to the point where I know we're going to have to get off an exit somewhere. And I say to Ann, she's got the map out, she's navigating. I say, Ann, there's an exit coming up here, do we need to get off up here? And she says, well, let me look, I'm looking at the map here. We get a little further, closer to the exit. And I say, Ann, you got to let me know if we got to get off this exit. And she says, well, I'll tell you. Let me look. We get up to the exit, and I say, Ann, you got to tell me. And this whole time I'm thinking about Colonel Hogan and Colonel Klink, and I said, Ann, you got to tell me whether to get off this exit, yes or no. She said, yes, get off here, and I go straight. And Ann says to me, she said, well, Mark, I told you to get off here. Why did you go straight? And I said, well, I think it's actually a little bit further down. I wish it was, and that turned out to be the right thing to do. We got off the next exit, we found the right place, and of course I didn't tell her what I was really doing. I was doing the opposite of what she told me. So I did this over the next several years. I did this a number of times. Whenever we were out driving, I knew she would always tell me the wrong direction. And I probably did this 8 or 10 times when we were out driving, and we'd get to that critical point in the direction to find someplace, and I'd ask her what to do, and whatever she told me to do, I did the opposite, and it worked out every single time. Every single time she told me the direction. Of course, she got a little upset over this. She kind of figured out what I was doing. She figured out whatever she said I was going to do the opposite. So I had to make it a last-second decision, but it worked. So it was hard to believe actually ended up getting divorced. But so years later, so this technique had worked. Years later, I moved downtown, and I had some wonderful friends I made down here. But it was a time I was going to have to make some big decisions in my life, and I had some good friends to talk to about how I was going to solve some problems I was facing. And so as I'm trying to make these decisions, I talk this out with my friends, and there's this one girl in our school circle of friends. Her name is Ellen, wonderful girl. She's still a very close friend of mine. But as I got to know her, I realized that her, as good a person as she was, her own personal life was really in disarray. Things were just not working out well for her. And as I got to know her, and she would tell me different projects she was working on, she would tell me the steps she was going to take to achieve this goal. And as she would tell me these stories, I'm thinking to myself, there's no way in the world this is going to work. This is crazy. This is just not going to work. And I started to understand her thought process, and she just didn't know what she was talking about. And I would find out several weeks later that this project had blown up like I thought it would. And so, but I noticed this again and again and again. These projects she was working on blew up. So I was back to when I've got some big decisions I got to make in my life. And I talked to my friends, and we kind of figure out, talking with them, the solution I would need to follow to pursue to get over this problem. So there'd be solution A, solution B, and we'd kind of settle on solution A. But it occurred to me there was one more person I needed to talk to kind of confirm what I was going to do here. I needed to talk to Ellen and get her take on this. And so I'd go to Ellen, and I did this 2 or 3 times with her. I'd say, Ellen, here's the problem I'm facing. I've got a couple ways to go here. What do you think? And she'd talk it through, and we'd talk about the different ways I would go. And sure enough, I was pretty much decided on solution A, but I wanted to hear what she thought. And every time she would say, I think you need to do solution B. And that was the final piece of information I needed to have. That was like the gold seal approval on what not to do. So I did the opposite. I followed the solution A like I thought, and it worked out. So I did that with Ellen 2 or 3 times, and it worked out every time. So, the moral of the story is just simply this. You may have people in your life that drive you crazy. You know they're wrong about everything they tell you. So you don't want to shun those people. You want to embrace those people, because those people could be the biggest tool you have for making decisions, because if they're always wrong, then the opposite has to be right.